Yeah.
Oh,
Mr.
yes.
Vargas, yeah.
Call the City of Clewiston Commission meeting to order. This is Monday, May 15th, 5 p.m. And I'd like to ask Pastor Vargas if he'd come forward and offer a prayer.
Lord Jesus, we ask you tonight, Lord, that your sovereign hand would be upon us, that you would give us, Lord, divine wisdom, God, to lead the city, Lord. We pray for our seniors, for our veterans, for everyone, God, of the families that are affected, Lord, by the decisions that are made. We ask, God, that we would lean upon you, Lord, and not on ourselves tonight, and that, Lord, there would be peace and unity among all of us today in this community. Let us be, Lord, that city that is set on a hill, Lord, a light, Lord, that shines, Lord, for those, Lord, who come here, Lord. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right, City Manager, any changes to the agenda?
No, as everyone can notice, our clerk is under the weather tonight, so JD, appreciate him filling in, but that is not our clerk.
Okay.
And we all wish her the best in recovery.
Yes, we do.
Absolutely.
Okay, at this time, we'll have public comments. If anyone would like to speak on any matter of the city, if it has to do with the agenda item, I'll give you a chance at that agenda item for public comments. But if it's not, you're more than welcome to come forth now, and we will have a 3-minute time limit. Anyone have a public comment?
So Miss Kelly is on the agenda to speak, so she had requested to do that.
Yes.
I'm not the first on the list, but I'll go ahead and lead out. I would like to speak on the flag issue for the West City limits. I know that the last meeting that I was able to attend, you said that tonight the city would make their decision. I made a comment last time about some money that was gathered by citizens of the community, and it was donated at the Elks Lodge. I did go to the Elks Lodge and question it. They did have the money. They said they came to the city and talked to Mr. Williams, and he told them, we don't need the money. So they still have the money that they raised for the flag issue. So I want to clear that up. The money was offered, it was not accepted, and we were told it wasn't needed. The other thing is, a comment was made on Facebook by me a while back about who should raise the flag. I will tell you, and I have them here if you'd like to see them, roughly 30 people answered my comment, and they all agreed that it should be a veteran that raises the flag on the West City limits. I personally don't have a problem with the Fair Board's program. I think it's an awesome program, and what they do is great. But the flag isn't about an individual person. It's about the people that serve to make sure we have a flag to fly. So I don't have a problem with Miss Kelly or the people from the Fair Board. I think the program that they have planned is great. But I can tell you 30 citizens in our community came forward and told me they believe that the flag should be raised by a veteran. And I did talk to Chief Kelly. He's here tonight, not in reference to this, but I did ask him quite a while back, hey, if we want to do this and have the flag raised, can we get help from the city police to cordon off the northbound and southbound lane, one lane of the road? And he agreed that his department would help us in that matter. I can't tell you how many people are going to show up. I had the honor of participating in the weekly burial ceremony this weekend, where Lieutenant Weekly's body was discovered in, I believe it was Romania. The remains were identified by a sister in Avon Park. The body was flown there. It was received. It was brought to LaBelle. We cordoned off the highway. There were parts of it that they blocked off while we came down there and did it. They didn't know how many, but I would tell you that it was at least 100 motorcycles in the procession that came. I can't tell you how many people will come to this Memorial Day flag raising, but the majority, everybody I spoke to who spoke to me about it said they believed that it should be raised by a veteran. And I think just about everybody I spoke with were citizens of Hendry County. So that's my thoughts on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Sure.
Danny Williams, Director of Operations. I told the Elks they could bring it to City Hall, so I did not tell them that we didn't need the money.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else before the Fair Board comes? Okay, Artis?
Mr. Mayor, I don't know about everybody else, but I'm hearing impaired, and obviously your microphones aren't working.
Okay,
Can't hardly hear you.
yes, sir.
I'm going to break it up, Jamie. Artis Hammett, concerned citizen owns some property in Clewiston and continue to have an issue with re-roofing. So the building permit was applied for, and the city requested an inspection through CAP. The website didn't allow, is the reason I've been given for a initial inspection of a dry-in. It only allowed for an in progress. The inspector came, failed the inspection. My roofing company gets a whole laundry list from the building and zoning department of things that are needed that are not applicable to a re-roofing. So my two roofs are still on standstill. I just went by and looked at the permit. Mr. Martin assured me that it would be signed off today. It's not. My roofing people will not come out and measure the metal. This has been going on for 2.5, almost 3 weeks. I don't know why that city staff can't be cross-trained so that when one of the people in the building and zoning is out, the other one cannot handle the issue. It's my time and my money. I keep getting bumped back in line to get the roofs on. It's going to be rainy season. I don't think it's acceptable. And this is not my first time with building and zoning. And I've expressed to many of y'all that when you issue a permit to a dead person, that kind of has a problem for me.
Thank you. Randy, can we address that after the
Travis,
meeting
yeah.
or first thing in the morning?
If you want him to now, or you want to wait?
Well, no, I just want it taken care of. It doesn't, you don't have to.
The contractor applied, requested an inspection on Friday. It failed. It's rescheduled for Tuesday.
Okay. Can you two talk and find out?
Owners get from the contractor, but you have an email record between when they request, when they get the council. It's a simple process.
Okay.
Applying for the permit is not simple because they're on state.
Because I'm tired of dealing with it. It should not be a citizen who has to come and talk to commissioners about an issue for a re-roof. They were notified last week that they did not pass inspection. The inspection was done over a week ago. And that contractor came and did the wrong thing. He did the wrong job that you're paying for. And I'm not going to pay for a re-inspection. That's wrong to ask for a citizen to pay for re-inspection when they can't get it right. If you have a contractor with a website that doesn't allow the city to choose re-roof over the continued construction, something's wrong. And I would think that the people in the building and zoning department, that's not their first rodeo of asking for an inspection for dry-in. And why wasn't that made clear by the employee?
And Miss Artis and I have talked, and Travis and I have had one discussion, and we'll continue until we resolve that part of the issue.
Well, it needs to be resolved if it's been that long. And as far as talking to machines, I'm with you. I can't stand it. If we're using a company that you can't talk to a human being, I think we should go out for bid again and find a company an inspection company that's more appropriate for our town. I feel your frustration because I've been on those calls too. But this sounds like maybe either a miscommunication or something didn't get passed along. So let's get it resolved very quickly after the meeting.
Can I just add something? I know that I've talked to Randy, and I know that several things have been brought up. And I know that, Travis, when you come to the meeting and there's some things you go through the process with the individuals, or maybe there's a contractor involved, y'all get to the bottom of it. But I think, and I know that a lot of this is taking time from our community residents in dealing with these issues. And I think that that is a lot of the frustration, that our system, our process is not a streamlined process. You know, when I know the county, you can go on and, you know, apply for a permit online, you know, and there's other areas that you can do that. And that, you know, maybe and more than one person can answer a question from a resident. I think we've got to look at our customer service and how we can deliver a better product. Because this is not the first time we've heard of a complaint about this. And again, we're dealing with a third party because we felt that it was important to have that backup. But if that backup is not helping the community in any way, we've got to come up with a different solution here. And I urge that we do the solution quicker than later.
Okay, thank you, Artis. Anyone else for public comments? All right, okay. Would state your name and address.
I'm Kate Adams. I'm not a city resident. I just wanted to invite everyone in the city of Clewiston to join with us in Glades County, actually, your neighboring county, for National Trails Day. The Florida Trail Association serves both Glades and Hendry counties. National Trails Day is not our event, but we're becoming much more active starting in this year. And in the fall and winter, we'll be having a lot of new activities around the Lake Okeechobee Trail, which is part of the National Scenic Trail. We'll be increasing the bird watching and walks and bicycle rides around the trail, as well as in the STA 5-6 area, which is also part of the National Scenic Trail. June 3rd is National Trails Day, and we're going to be doing a sunrise cycle and stroll. We usually start our events at sunrise because it's cooler and we see more wildlife. So it's just one day a month. You can get up a little early, and we hope that you'll join us on June 3rd. And if you have any questions, I'm going to leave a flyer here, and we're getting a new website, so it'll be a little easier to find us. But the email address is ftagladeshendry@yahoo.com. We hope to see you. Thanks.
I have one question.
Yes,
Where is everybody meeting at?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm not a public speaker. I spend most of my time in the woods. I'm not a public speaker. It's Alvin Ward County Park, which, as probably all of you know, is one of the many access points to the Lake Okeechobee Scenic Trail. We just happen to be doing this event at Alvin Ward because there's a lot of parking. And this is a first for us, doing a combination walk and bicycle ride. So if any of you have a new bicycle you want to try out, especially electric bikes, it'll be more social in nature. It won't be strenuous activity. We'll go very slow and just have fun. It'll probably be a maximum of 5 miles. We're just going to do it there and back. We will not go all the way to the fish camp. Don't worry. Just, short distance. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone else? Public comments? All right, it's your turn, Fair Board.
Okay, I guess I get nominated to speak. My name's Lisa Kelly. I'm with the Henry County Fair and Livestock Show, and I have with me tonight Sherry Lee, Sandy Williams, and Brenda Holcomb. We're all Fair Board members, and we just wanted to come say thank you. End of a long journey, getting this flag up on 27. You've all played a part of that, and I thank you very much. Molly, been on it from the beginning. And huge shout out to Mr. Martin and to Danny Williams. Without those two, I'm not sure where we would be right now, but it's going up Memorial Day. And we just want to say thank you for all the hard work and the support. We've got a great program plan for that day. We've got a bus. Thank you, Hillary, for trying. We appreciate it. We got a bus ready to load everybody up on at the fairgrounds at 9 o'clock Memorial Day. Go out there. Miss Peterson's group is going to do the unveiling and the raising of the flag under proper protocol. The flag will be dedicated to the United States of America Armed Forces, past, present, and future members. So we hope to have a good program. For the community, we are going to open the fairgrounds. We finally got our COO. Thank you, Travis. Woohoo. It's air conditioned. It's nice. And we're going to do some live streaming. So anybody that wants to come from the community, of course, Fair Board's always got food available. They're going to do some food, some coffee. Anybody from the community that wants to go, and check it out. Come on out. It's going to be live streamed. Miss Peterson's going to do her Memorial Day program that she would normally do at Ridgelawn. She's going to do that at the fairgrounds in the air-conditioned building. So we'll have some after activities for that. And we just got some special little gifts for everybody that would like to come out and experience that for the day. But we just wanted to say thank you and hope to see you all there. Sherry's got some little cards just giving some instructions for the day and some simple little reminders for everybody. So if you have any questions, let me know. Give us a call. We greatly appreciate it. Randy, Danny, thank you.
So the public, anyone that is going to participate needs to be at the fairgrounds by 9.
The actual folks that are going out to the flag raising, of course, we've been asked to keep it small, sweet, short for the actual flag raising. So anybody there, we'll have a bus load them up. 9 o'clock, we're going to load the bus. Hopefully the presentation per Ms. Peterson will take us about 25 to 30 minutes. And then we'll go back to the fairgrounds and have her presentation and a little bit of food and coffee.
Okay.
All right. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate that. All right. Anyone else? Public comments?
Sorry I'm late.
Good afternoon. Jolie and I would like to make a comment on a sequence of events that
Hey, Joe,
occurred.
Joe, you got 3 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just letting you know.
Okay. Put down some notes. Just to put it all in a nutshell, on October 24th, 2010, I appeared before the City Commission to express my interest in obtaining a large flag to greet visitors coming into the city of Clewiston. This issue seems to be passed around and never came to be. In November 2011, I met with the city manager. We discussed this issue. I was told that they were going to look into it. On October 20th, 2022, a group of local veterans and I had a discussion on what would it take to make this happen. I attended that month's meeting, City Commission meeting. It was discussed and agreed that this was long overdue and would receive immediate attention. I proposed to the City Commission a plan that would allow donations from the citizens, civic organizations, and businesses towards the purchase of this flagpole and the flag. It was agreed. I'm sorry, I'm not very good at this technical stuff. Excuse me just a minute. Let me catch up. Let's see. It was agreed that Danny Williams would be the point of contact. I stayed in contact in reference to the progress of this project. Soon after my appearance at the October Commission meeting, Mr. Williams advised that the Henry County Fair Board was also interested and had funds set aside for this project. Donations were received and had been collected at the Clewiston Elks Lodge. It was determined that no more funding would be needed because the Fair Board had it covered. It came to be known that the funds were solicited by the Fair Board and a large donation was made to them by U.S. Sugar. A meeting that was understood that myself, Lisa Kelly of the Henry County Fair Board, and Mr. Martin and Mr. Williams would be present was held. When I arrived at this meeting, I found other members of the Fair Board were present, not just us. It was just a formality that we did have a meeting. Nothing was discussed that was hadn't already been arranged.
So, Joe, go ahead and wrap it up.
Okay.
and you might have missed it, Joe, but they did make a presentation and they told us the schedule of events, so they did
That's
do that just a while ago.
I understand that, and that's pretty much the same sequence of the itinerary that was already decided prior to last month's meeting. The only thing I can see we got accomplished at that meeting, Mr. Martin, Mr. Williams, myself, and other members of the Fair Board, that we would be allowed to have a veteran present to share the honor of raising the flag.
Joe, can I, Mr. Mayor, can I make a comment here?
Sure.
Okay. Joe, I'd like to thank you and all the veterans. Your persistence in reminding us about the importance of a flag on Highway 27 has not gone unnoticed. There's no doubt. I heard your comments at the last meeting, and I personally went to see Mr. Cooper. He didn't know anything about the flag raising, but he said he would be honored to be there to help raise the flag. And I have the invitation here from the Fair Board to deliver to him because he is my mom's neighbor, and I'm going to take it to him. All your heartfelt comments, that of Mike and all the other veterans, have not been unheard. The Fair Board is honoring all the veterans by raising a great, wonderful blessing of a flag to honor this great nation. And that's what's going to happen tonight, that's what's going to happen on Memorial Day. But tonight, Pastor Vargas talked about and prayed about for the city of Clewiston to be a light upon a hill. And I can promise you that flag with the lights going on it will not be missed by anybody who comes through our community. So it is thank you to you and to the other veterans and to the volunteers of the Hendry County Fair Board who have put this together to honor the sacrifices that have been made. No one has, in my opinion, has tried to set anybody aside. It is to honor the veterans in this great nation, and that's what's going to happen on Memorial Day. It might not be the way that any of us envision exactly what's going to happen, but there's no doubt that honoring this nation and its veterans will happen on Memorial Day on Highway 27 in Clewiston. And thank you for your service and your commitment.
Okay, I just wanted to reflect my opinion, and a lot of the other veterans have come to me in reference to this, but it's already been done. It's done. So I'm glad that we're going to have the flag. I'm glad it was an effort to everybody, and that's it. Done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, and I hope many of the veterans that are able to make it can come to the program at the fairgrounds. Probably start approximately at 10 o'clock after the flag raising is done and people are back at the fairgrounds. There will be a program that we normally have on Memorial Day anyway, but this year it'll be at the fairgrounds. Oh, and you're going to live stream. Okay, very good. Okay, I think that wraps up the public comments. Seeing no one else, we have the consent agenda before us.
Move that we approve. Second.
Motion to approve by Gardner, second by Highslope. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we have our automated metering infrastructure presentation. As you guys know, over the last several years, we've been wanting to get an automated metering system, and it has finally come to fruition. And we have Danny and Lynn that are going to, go ahead, and we have a presentation, so there will be a chance to ask questions.
Can we make sure anybody wants something?
I think I'll pass these out when I sit down. How about that? Okay. So it was March 2021 when we were in negotiations to find an AMI contractor to upgrade our system, an advanced metering infrastructure project is what we launched. And in August 2021, we actually entered into a contract with Census by way of background. And we have two people here from Census who have worked with us. I've introduced you guys 3 times now because we had an AMI day about an hour ago. But with us today is Mark Costello. He's the South Florida Account Development Manager. And Sean McCarty is the Manager of Technical Services. For, I guess, by way of introduction and for tonight's meeting, to give you an update of where we are now, we have a video that we produced since we entered into the contract that we're going to play for you first, that kind of explains the AMI generally. And this will be linked to our website for people to go on and learn more about what we're doing. And kind of in a nutshell, everybody's going to get a new meter, but there's a whole lot more going on behind the scenes. So Mark and Sean can speak to that too.
Yeah. Thank you, Lynn. I'm going to kind of pull up this video real quick. We actually, about an hour ago, we were able to actually go through an AMI day, because one of the most important things when we do these projects is transparency, right? It's basically going to be individuals coming to your property. I don't know about you. I kind of want to know what's going on people going to my property. So we'll kind of talk about that. But I also want to thank the staff and the commission, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for having us. We really appreciate it. We've really, really enjoyed our time. We really are enjoying our time with the City of Clewiston staff. They really are a peach to deal with. And I'm not saying that because they're here, but they really are just a tremendous group. We're really thankful to be able to work with them. So we're going to play this video, give a good description of what this program is, put together by the city, and then I'll do a short presentation.
And I've had the pleasure of representing you, my neighbors, on the City Commission for the last 9 years. Today, I'm excited to share that Clewiston will be upgrading our electric and water systems. In the near future, we'll be switching to an advanced metering infrastructure, or AMI. AMI is an integrated system that will improve your access to data, enhance our utility operations, and elevate the quality of service for our citizens. So what makes AMI different? In this system, electricity and water meters will communicate in near real time with your utility provider by removing the need to manually read meters or report outages. The AMI system streamlines billing, emergency response times, and more. Now, let me assure you, we won't need to change your utility rates to pay for the new infrastructure. This upgrade is funded by a grant and low-interest financing. So for more about the benefits of AMI, I'll hand it over to Clewiston Utilities Director, Danny Williams.
Today, I'll be sharing everything you need to know about Clewiston's up-and-coming utility upgrade. As Ms. Peterson mentioned, the AMI system streamlines communications between your utility meters and the city. With near real-time communications, the new meters provide a number of benefits for Clewiston citizens. First, response times. With constant updates on utility meters through the city, utility workers will be able to detect outages or leaks in real time. You can expect faster response times and shorter electric outages thanks to your AMI system. Second, access to your data. When your AMI meters are installed, you'll be able to access up-to-date usage for information through your utility portal. Log in and see the trends, create customized alerts, and identify issues before your billing period closes. We encourage residents to use this new tool to conserve energy with smarter usage habits, and finally, enhance customer service. With more data than ever before, you'll have new tools for managing your energy and water consumption, set monthly usage thresholds, monitor activity during vacations, and more thanks to real-time updates from your AMI meter. We'll begin deployment of the new AMI meters in 2023. At that time, Clewiston's utility staff will upgrade all existing water and electric meters with the new AMI meters. The new meters are completely free of charge to Clewiston residents. You won't be charged any additional fees, and you won't see higher rates due to our new infrastructure. These smart meters are fast, accurate, environmentally friendly. Ocala, Lakeland, Orlando are already enjoying greater control, better customer service, and quicker response times thanks to their AMI systems. We're very excited to bring those same benefits to you. To learn more, visit clewistonfl.gov/AMI.
Very good. Yeah. I want his autograph too, by the way. Danny, I haven't seen you turn that shade of red yet. So I'm gonna. Oh, there you go. There you go. So as a quick thing, can everyone hear me? Okay. Okay, good. So I'm gonna jump into the presentation, but I just wanted to show you all, especially the customer facing benefit of this program. In a lot of ways, is the customer portal. So this is actually an example of a couple accounts that are city-owned accounts that we did testing. We made sure everything works properly before we go into mass deployment. This is just an example of what you can see. So you can get alerts. You can set billing thresholds. So if you're about to exceed those that could be outside of your budget, you're able to alert yourself and let you know. You can see what your usage has been without the billing cycle, and look at what type of consumption on your energy and also your water consumption, what it could be occurring at that time. So this is just an example of that. Then we're going to jump into the quick presentation, give an update on where the program is, what it's about. So we're going to quick jump in here. Here we go. So Clewiston is upgrading their utility system. So one of the main benefits of what AMI is, it's most importantly, it's the benefit our customers, right? To be able to give information that historically the city of Clewiston has not had. Normally you get your bill once a month, you pay your bill, and that's about as much information that you have. But what this allows you now is to be able to get access to what you're using on your utilities. Be able to know how much you're using, look at some of your trends internally. Again, this isn't something we share externally. This is for your own use. So a lot of people pay a lot of money for apps to look at this types of stuff. The city's offering this to you for free. And this is a huge tool that could be used for customers. Be able to have transparent data. It's going to be accurate. So all these are calibrated and ensured that these last for many, many years. On the water side, your action is guaranteed for 20 years. So the information that is what you're having today is going to be consistent and is going to be able to last for many, many decades. So you're able to look at those alerts. So say, for example, there's an outage in the city. You want to ensure that that outage is going to be able to communicate out, and you're going to be able to know when there could be an outage going on in the electric system. You have faster responses, and we want to ensure sustainability is carried out. So the partnership is, we really try to look at it as a partnership. This isn't a, hey, you're buying something from me and I walk away, see you later. Again, these are 20-year systems. So when my wife's making fun of me because she says I'm having my third life crisis. So I'm growing my hair out because I told her I don't know how much longer I'm going to have it. So likely by the time the project's kind of done is that I may look a little bit different at that point. But that speaks to the testament of, we're long-term partners. We want to work with the city for many, many years. So your census is who I work for, who Sean works for, but there's a few different players. Quanta Technologies is the program manager, and also UPA is the installation subcontractor. So there's going to be the individuals that are going to be reaching out to the citizens. They're going to be leaving door hangers, communicating, so you know when those meters are going to be replaced. Because more than anything, we want to ensure that people know when they're about to have meters replaced, but also after they're done with their work, notifying them that that's completed. Because I don't know about you, I like to know when people are coming and going to my house. So a little bit about kind of what the timeline is. Ms. Mila described it really well about how everything's kind of progressing. We're really kind of wrapping up supplies going to be delivered in June and July. There's a little bit of a lapse there, as some of you may know, with some of the semiconductor crisis that's been going on in the world. We are not immune to that. We're finally starting to come out of those big crunches. As you're seeing, we use the same semiconductors at the vehicles, at the Ford, at the Chevy dealership. You're seeing the same things that are finally starting to flow in. So deployment's going to be starting in August. We're really excited about that. Primarily, you're going to have the electric meter replaced first, and then water is going to follow that. Electric takes a little bit quicker, and water is a little more time consuming when it comes to changing those meters out. And we hope to have this completed by March of 2024. So just a little more information is that, they're arriving, we're moving, but outside of just supply chain, we did extensive testing. We've been doing functional system acceptance testing for more than a year. So that's a combination of making sure the meter's talking to the network's talking to the database, and the database is linked properly with billing. Because what we do when we do these programs is we don't want to silo data. We want to ensure that it's properly linked up with the ERP and the customer information system. So making sure that the data that's coming into billing that generates those bills are accurate, and it's something that the citizens can trust. So we've been extensively testing that at city locations, and a few city employees also volunteered to be part of that process. So outside of just supply chain, we wanted to take our time to ensure that this was properly tested, so the information that the citizens are receiving are accurate and you can trust it. So outside of that, we're going to have the customer portal shortly after installation, and then we're going to kind of have a link is it on the Facebook site? Is that right, Lynn? On the website, okay. And the website's going to have instructions. Customer service is going to be able to help individuals that are just getting on, kind of learn how to use it, right? When I personally, when I go through, it takes maybe 1 or 2 times whenever you're learning something new. They do have a mirrored image that you're going to be able to look at that, so the customer service person can walk through residents as they're learning how to use the system. So what are some of the benefits? I don't know about you. That's the first thing I ask. How is this going to help me? So some of the benefits: easier access to your information. In the past, you get your bill and that's about it, right? Now you can have hourly data of what's going on at your house. Better manage your water and energy usage. Hey, if you're seeing your bills really high, maybe I tamp down that thermostat a little bit to cut down that energy bill. If usage goals and budget within your means, when you're thinking about individuals on fixed income, we want to make sure we're hitting that budget, right? We're not exceeding that, because you're not going to get an influx of cash. So you got to work with what you got. Outage, receive alerts, ensuring that you have the most recent information and when outages are occurring, but also when they're fixed and reestablished. So we have that data that currently we don't have. We kind of showed a little example in our AMI day, is that we have the ability to turn on, turn off these meters. So in a lot of ways, this is a safety benefit. So say, for example, in the past where you cut someone's meter off, you just they go out and they turn it on. But the issue is, at that time, if you leave a burner on and you got a pizza box, called the pizza box effect, if you leave that on, you can start a fire. So now you're able to essentially coordinate with the resident, and the resident's able to make sure that everything is turned off completely before you turn service. And then from there, you turn it on and then you verify. So the biggest thing is we're making sure we're not creating any liability for our residents. And to kind of wrap it up, I'm being a little redundant here, but I'm going to keep saying it, is alerts and alarms. So say, for example, on your water meter, you got a leak. And then you're seeing all of a sudden you get this text alert saying it looks like you have continuous consumption. So if you got a leak, you're able to know ahead of when you're getting that massive bill. You're able to ensure that you're going to fix that problem before it becomes a bigger problem. I don't know about you. We had an example from one of our residents here earlier that their bill went up $1,000 than what it normally was because they had a leak. I don't know about you. I don't have $1,000 to pay a water bill, and I don't think anybody else do. If you don't, raise your hand. I'll take a collection, and I'll take anything else because I can use the money. So with that said, we want to make sure where everyone knows what's going on at their house, right? So that's a quick little synopsis of everything. We do have a meter demo board that we demoed at the AMI day. So if you want to look, get a feel for it, ask questions, it's there and it's available. And even after the fact, I know that they have it at utilities, and they've been incredibly accommodating when answering citizens' questions. I've actually got to sit in the back and listen to Monica Perez answer questions. It's actually really entertaining because she's kind of a wizard at it. So if you don't know Monica, she's great. So with that said, is there any questions with their presentation?
I just have a quick question. How long does it take, to change everything out and get everything running?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Water, there's a few more processes. You want to make sure you flush the line. You want to make sure service is completely off before you essentially remove that meter. So you want to make sure you're not putting anything, not great from a debris standpoint down line. So Mr. Williams is correct. Takes a little more time on the water side. That's more to make sure we're not putting anything into a system that shouldn't be there.
Are we doing both at the same time? Or are we?
Yes, sir. Primarily, they're going to do electric first on most of them. But if at all possible, we'd rather do the electric meter and the water meter at the same time, since there'll be someone at the residence.
But in the case of the water, that obviously will involve a meter that's below grade.
Yes, sir.
In many cases, several hundred, we're going to be replacing the boxes, so there will be some disruption to people's yards or driveways, depending on where the location is, if it's a business. And the contractor and, of course, our utility folks will be coordinating with Census to make sure that's done in an efficient manner. And through notifications, you mentioned door hangers and other methods. We'll use traditional as well as electronic means, and we have handouts, and that information will be on the website and on our social media, encouraging people to make sure, one, that it is a legitimate representative of the city that's there on behalf of the contractor to install. And this will have security. You might want to comment on that. We talked about that a lot earlier and so forth.
So there's a lot of means we have from a security standpoint. We make sure that, let's talk about from the field side, is that we're making sure that every single installer has name tags, so you know who they are. If say, for example, there's a complaint about who's installing that meter, you know exactly their employee ID before they leave. So you know who's coming onto your property, number one. When it comes to the customer portal and customer information, it's in every single contract we do that we do not share information. We do not sell data. That's one of the most important things. We reference that in every single contract because there's other individuals in our space that do that. And personally, not a big fan of that whatsoever. But we ensure that your data is protected. And when you do go into the customer portal, it's essentially information you're given security tokens. So you're ensuring that the information that you're given and the accounts that are going into are the people that live there and own that property. Or depending on the situation of a renter, that goes off to the owner's decision and the utility's decision.
Another aspect of security too is people stealing water and power.
I'm happy you said that.
I believe we've already caught somebody, another transplant from down south up here that's went around the meter to hook saws and whatnot to renovate his home. I believe the fee or the fine now is $250. Is it, Danny? $500. I would suggest we take that to $1,000. The second offense, $2,500, and to criminally prosecute every single person we catch stealing power or water. I believe there's specific statutes for stealing from a utility. And when we do prosecute, do it under the correct statute.
I'm happy you mentioned that because I was kind of like a kid in the candy store when I saw that picture of the prong that actually was blocked. So that's one of the big benefits, being able to find tamper. So that's a huge benefit to the utility from that aspect.
Will we get a consensus on that?
I think, aren't we going to have a workshop on all the fees? Because I think last meeting, there was the fees that we had to look at, and I think
during
that
the
we already
budget process, we'll be bringing.
But I think it's one of our items that we have on here that we're going to look at all the fees in the city and out of the city as well.
Right.
So I think that, plus the request that Jimmy had, and now your request, I think we need to look at all those fees together, and absolutely agree that they need to be criminally prosecuted if they're stealing
Be
power
ready
from the
with
city
the
of Clewiston.
statutes and what we can do.
Because there's more to come. And the quicker we get on this, the better.
How many of these do we have deployed already?
And how are those working?
Perfect.
And if somebody tampers with a can, they get a notice.
Wherever they're located, does that consumer know?
Yes.
So are they able to see like the back end that
They're able to see the alerts.
right
So
that
if
you
there's a specific
presented?
yes, ma'am.
So like the user side is friendly for them.
But
Nice.
the portal's not up and working entirely yet, is it? All the data.
So the portal itself is up and working. It normally goes to the utility that we normally let them decide, do you release it all at once or do you release it upon installation of the new meters?
That was what I was referring to. We haven't really discussed that, but for the ones you already deployed, have we released it yet? I was just curious.
Mark jumped on and looked at one of the city accounts through the portal, so it's up.
It's
and
available.
functional.
Okay.
But one thing we are talking about is we launched the portal, and some of our customers don't have the AMI meters yet. There can be a little bit of a, well, when are we going to get our meter? And
Sure.
so it's access to data for some people, and others have that. So I guess discussion about me.
I just wondered if the people that were piloting, I guess, had access and could give us any feedback about the portal. Was it user friendly for the layman? You know?
Yeah, we did have a couple of residents now who were nice enough to let us use them. Like we had to test the net meters. We got some. And then testing the customer portal, you know, I haven't had anybody say that they're user friendly.
Good.
In fact, we do have another video in production that JD is starring in that explains the navigating the portal.
Nice.
Section of it, and then there's a book.
Thank you.
Pastor Vargas had his hand raised.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, I just have a few questions. I noticed on that. The power that's being used to charge that thing with people. The other question I have is that I know I was, in the 80s and 90s when I was a young person and a person didn't pay their light bill. Because we're in 2020 is an advanced technology, is there any time that a citizen has the ability to shut their power off completely so that they're not being charged like while they're at work, or if we're trying to conserve energy? I guess that's the big picture of the world. Like why hasn't that been thought about? There's a time that you're able to unplug, period, if you so choose to do so.
Thank you for your questions, Pastor. The first answer on your first question is no. And if Sean can add some more context if need, but it's not passed on to the customer. There's a big reason why we don't give access to be able to turn off and turn on the meters to the customer. It's purely security. It's ensuring that, say, for example, you have a renter and that renter moves and has a fallout with the landlord. We don't want to ensure that individual still has access that can play games. So effectively what we've done, and that's been carried out by pretty much most of the users in the country, is that they reach out, in this case, to the utility, and the utility does the action, purely for security purposes.
But it does, having it, you can see what your usage is, and you can see where you can conserve already, by either, reducing the amount of water you're using or turning your AC up to stop the AC from running or turn the AC off.
Yeah, and also we talked a little bit about an AMI day, but for example, they have also vacation notifications. So say, for example, I'm going to shut down all my power while I'm on vacation, and say you do send that over and your power's off, somehow someone tampers and turns it on, you actually receive an alert if there's any consumption at all at your property.
And those alerts, you mentioned that earlier, can be done electronically if they want to sign up and use their phone.
Yes, sir. And for example, if you want to have those alerts and you sign up for the portal, I actually tested it out. You can get alerts that, say, for example, on your water meter, you get continuous consumption, meaning there could be a leak. You get either text and or email alerts. So you know that something's going on at your house and work with the utility. So like we said, when you're not getting that $1,000 bill, we want to make sure we keep that down and work with you to make sure we get your house working properly.
All right, anyone else?
Yes, sir.
So Clewiston has been antiquated for a very long time. How did you get the Clewiston?
We have a whole lot more than 3 cities. Those are local in the area, but we have more than 1,300 systems throughout the United States. We actually are the market leader when it comes to AMI technology. Who found us?
We sought public bids, and
Yes.
they responded along with other companies, and we went through a process of evaluating the proposals, and they responded in response to a request for proposals.
mentioned it was a grant, so all these other fees, additional, not gonna have to pay out of pocket. Everything you're all doing is gonna come out of it.
It was a grant and a loan through the Florida Municipal Power Association for half, for the electric portion, and the water portion was grant funded. And then no repayment by the city on that. But we will have to pay back the Florida Municipal Power Association, but we factor that into our processes, and it could absorb it with the cost savings and efficiencies. I believe we anticipated that the system would pay for itself even if we had to borrow all the money within less than 5 years, 3 to 5 years.
We were pretty conservative. We said 7 years
Mhm.
because we also factored in repairs that we're going to discover as a result of this deployment for our water system.
See a huge savings in water. Got a lot of old meters.
And
It's not, they're the mechanical meters.
And savings of the natural resource too, less water waste when there are leaks. They'll be found, identified quicker, cut off. And you've already talked about some of the efficiencies with the electric, but even in processes like tenants in and out of rental properties, will be able to respond much quicker and activate their power immediately upon them paying and setting up their accounts. Things now we have to schedule and send out a staff person to do, we'll be able to do immediately.
And just for clarification, the staff come up with a concept. We didn't find a company and they tell us what we're going to do.
That's
Staff
true.
come up with the concept. City put out an RFP, and I believe there was 3. And through their qualifications and pricing, the city chose this company to come in and do what we asked them to do.
And we utilize the resources of our municipal power association that we're in, and there are other municipalities that have already gone through this. And so we mimicked a lot of their experience they had gained through that process. Newberry was one of them, and some prior to that. This is fairly widespread throughout the utility industry nationwide in this state and other states. So it's not a new concept. There have been some refinements and improvements in the process, and we're going to get to take advantage of those and avoid some of the pitfalls that some of our sister cities had in being the guinea pigs early on it.
I'd also like to add that it's been over a decade that we started this process and looking at different companies. The
That's true.
affordability to the city of Clewiston and to its residents was not possible without grant funding that came in at the right time for this project. So it's a great day that we're able to finally see this done after a decade of researching and getting ready.
Not cheap.
Good point.
Any further questions for the AMI project?
If not, Mayor and Commission, I would like to congratulate Lynn Milo, who has been our point person on this. She has really learned a lot. I'm sure she would be the first to admit, and has done a good job. But now, now that we have it integrated with our financial software, we have all the testing that's been done. Now the proof is in getting it deployed, working with customers to get the meters installed as quickly as possible, and then enjoying the benefits and further tweaking it as necessary. And it is going to require some changes in the staffing, but at this point, no new hires. We're just restructuring our existing system, but we are looking for somebody if anybody's interested and qualified, that would help us in the leadership role with this.
JD, thank you.
Yeah,
Technology.
JD too.
Good job, guys. Thank you, Mark and Sean. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you for having us.
We'll have you again, I'm sure.
Sure, happy to. Appreciate it.
Yeah, there'll be more, I'm sure, interest and questions as we get into full deployment.
Yeah, if anyone has questions they didn't think of, be sure to email
Travels
them or
home.
bring them by.
And congratulations. Thank you. All the best next week.
You guys.
Okay, we'll move on to agenda item 3, ordinance 2023-03, public hearing. It's the final reading of this ordinance. This ordinance amends the official zoning map by changing the zoning designation of certain property along US 27 corridor containing approximately 86.05 acres from various zoning categories to US 27 Commercial Corridor District. We'll open the public hearing. Anyone that would like to speak or make a comment on ordinance 2023-03, you're more than welcome to come to the microphone, state your name and address. Okay, seeing none, this rezone to US 27 initiated by the city of Clewiston reclassifies these 86 acres both north and south of Sugarland Highway. The Planning and Zoning Board met on March 27, 2023 to consider the request, and after review and discussion, recommended approval of the rezone. The vote was 4-0. Board Member Kaki was absent. The City Commission unanimously approved the first reading of ordinance 2023-03 on April 17th, 2023. Any questions or discussion by the commission? I think we've covered this pretty thoroughly. Attorney, any comments from you? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2023-03.
Second.
Thompson motions, second by Highslope. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ordinance passes. Agenda item number 4 is a public hearing for the fire protection assessment. And I'm going to ask the manager to comment, since I think we're going to push this one. Is that
Yes,
correct?
and Travis certainly can respond to any specific questions, but the city, you have the history there of how we progressed to this point. At the last meeting, the commission acted on the first reading, if you will, to acted upon this assessment process. After further reflection, we'd intended to go forward with the public hearing tonight originally and to finalize it. But after further reflection and input from legal as well as some of our expertise that's been advising us in this process, it was felt that it would be a better process to defer action, ask you to continue the public hearing until a date certain. And at this point, we believe that would be September the 7th, when the commission would consider setting the initial millage rate for the subsequent fiscal year beginning October 1 of 23, at which time this would go into effect. We will be discussing it in more detail again during the budget process, but I would like Travis to comment on the timing and the advantage, if he would, to deferring it and some of the feedback we received.
Thank you, Travis Reese, Community Development. Commission instructed us to move quickly as we could with this. We put a schedule together we thought would be the minimum amount, but to get it where we needed before you reach budget time. There are certain deadlines that we had to meet with the property appraiser and with the tax collector. As we move forward, we found out that we did not need this particular meeting, but we had put it in place. We had already advertised, so I wanted to go ahead and have it on the agenda. So as the manager stated, it will have to come back again, but we would have to do a mailing. The cost of that mailing was a little over $4,000. It was just money we didn't need to spend. So we thought we'd keep it on the agenda, table it to time certain during budget. But that's the only reason. Nothing else has changed.
But we met all of our obligations to the county tax and others.
That's correct. All of our colleagues are, we're in a good spot, and we're actually over advertising and over notifying, but stop us short of spending additional funds.
And Travis, I think the financial impact number adjusted downward some since the last meeting, if you want to comment on that in case there's any questions.
The study was pretty spot on, I think, from property appraiser's assessment. Some things were a little bit less, so it's the financial impact's a few $1,000s less, maybe $30,000 range. And that may adjust. Don't get fixated on that number. That can change, and you'll have decisions to make at your final meeting as we get closer to that with nonprofits and government agencies, things that may fluctuate a little bit there too. So we can talk more about that when we're actually in the meeting.
And in final analysis, it seemed more logical that to put the commission in the best, most informed position is to be able to approve this at the time you will actually know the impacts on millage and so forth, rather than months in advance. So, unless there's
Commission's in
questions.
agreement. I'll entertain a motion to table until September 7th, 2023.
I make a motion to continue the public hearing and table the adoption of the final fire protection assessment to the tentative millage and budget hearing on September the 7th, 2023 at 5:05 p.m.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Gardner, second by Highslope. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, agenda item number 5 is a resolution 2023-040, a public hearing. This public hearing, or resolution rather, approves the adoption of the City of Clewiston Waterfront Master Plan. City Commission selected the preferred concept plan at the April 17th, 2023 Commission meeting. The terms of the grant agreement require a project closeout to be completed by June 30th of 2023. The final step is to adopt the preferred plan after receiving public input. The consultant will then provide additional input and analysis of the preferred concept plan prior to the final closeout of the grant. This is a public hearing, so anyone from the audience and the public is welcome to comment. You can come to the podium, just state your name and address.
And we do have a representative of Stantec here tonight. It's a different one. Jared could not be here, and of course Margaret with the Regional Planning District Council here to answer any questions you have of them regarding the grant or the concept plan that you previously reviewed.
Questions at all from the public? Comments or questions from the commission?
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to support tonight's resolution. I'm going to share with you why I'm not going to support it. In this packet that we have before us, in December of 2022, I brought up again about working with a water management district for the state property north and adjacent to the C21. There's 3 parcels there that total over almost 200 acres of land that could be used for recreational purposes. I think that we have not extended the potential of that property and how it would impact the city to have that on recreational activities on the state land. In this packet tonight, we also have a recap of our BMAP plan, and that the newest project that we had here in the city was only 10% of the BMAP plan requirements, and that we were urged to look at existing green spaces and parks to create more stormwater facilities, and I don't believe that we've done that. I think that tonight's actions of having to delay the fire protection also shows the situation that we're in with our millage rate and just the maintenance that's required in our budget. We know that at our boat basin, the East Dock has a dock there on the east side of the boat basin that has no access for whatever reason, whether it's high water, low water, but it has been closed to the public for months, and we've not been able to address that issue. Our capital improvement plan for recreation is well over $1 million that we have to maintain the existing parks. And in our packet tonight, we also had reviewed back in December that we have an issue of a hefty issue of $7.6 million for drainage and culvert replacements. Now, I understand that the staff is going to be looking at grant funding, but we don't know the financial impact in the future. The insurance cost of any project coming into the city is something that hasn't been looked at. I did ask Randy about that, as well as our new bridge crossing. We don't even know the impact of that on our insurance, nor the responsibilities that we're going to have in the future under our capital improvement plan. I think, so for me, bottom line fiscally, I don't think that this is the right time for us to look at a boat basin project. We've looked at it before. We have garnered money from the state of Florida for a master plan, which we're not going to use. But I think in looking at this, it's just like the AMI project. We looked at it a decade ago. We couldn't afford it then, and we did not want to cast that burden to the community. And I feel that this project is also the same thing, and that we've not exhausted every potential that we have for the state land on north of the C-21. And so that's why I will not be supporting the project. So I think it's fiscally, in my opinion, fiscally irresponsible for us to look at something that looks pretty and sexy, but that we can't afford.
Any other comments? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Margaret Worsley with the Southwest Florida Regional Planning Council. Again, you're not committing to anything. This is a plan, a conceptual plan, so that we can go forward and determine cost estimates for each element. You are not committing yourself to building this or implementing this. This is just an idea if someday you want to go forward with it. The next step for us is to finalize cost estimates and an implementation plan for how it could be accomplished. Doesn't mean you have to. Again, the grant ends on June 30th, so we need to cross every T and dot every I so that Stantec can be paid for the 2 years of work that they've done on this project. Any questions?
And also the RPC, right? Because you do the work to help out in grant funding, but your income comes from grants as well.
Yes.
Okay, managing the grants.
This is just a very strange. Usually, you have milestones and deliverables, and as you hit each one of them, the state reimburses you for that. We did the conceptuals, we did the public meetings, they said, we're only going to reimburse you when you finish the whole project. So when we close it out is when we'll all get paid.
Okay, well, any other comments?
The commissioner has some very good points that we need to be aware of moving forward and to plan for.
Don't disagree. Obviously, that's a big part of the budget exercise every year. But as Margaret pointed out, you are not obligating any potential expenditures unless you build it or agree to accept a grant. And obviously, there are implications for maintenance going forward and so forth, just like on all of our other recreation facilities that you'll need to take into consideration at the time you receive a recommendation to pursue any elements of this plan if you adopt it. But we do need a plan, and to qualify for funding,
they're just being paid by the grant.
Yes, that's
for
the extent of this grant.
Not actually
just for the plan, the work done to this point, the planning process. Correct.
Yeah, I'm excited about the lakefront being improved and better utilized, and just with paths and things that would draw people. I know that Clewiston, regardless of what we put, is we're only going to be limited to how many we draw, but I think we need to move forward. I'm not saying I do think Commissioner Gardner made some good points that we can address as we move forward, and it may not happen for a few more years, but I think at this phase we need to push through and get this finished, and then at least look and see what we're able to do. Those are my comments. If no one has any further comments, I'll entertain a motion one way or the other.
I'll make a motion that we approve.
Second.
Which one are we on? number 6?
2023-40.
Okay. Number 5.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 2023-40.
Okay, a motion by Highslope. Second by Edmonds. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, we'll move on to item 6, ordinance number 2023-04. This ordinance amends Chapter 2 of Article 4 of the Firefighters Retirement System of the Clewiston Code of Ordinance. The Clewiston Fire Pension Board, under advisement from their actuary and attorney, have requested a text change to the definitions section of the Firefighters Retirement Ordinance. The board unanimously approved and requested the change to be pursued by the City Commission. From what I understand, this is just a definition change. And because it is an ordinance, if there's any comments from the public, you can come forth now and state your name. This will be the first reading of this ordinance, so it will come back to us. Travis or Jerry's on the board. Do either one of you just want to make a comment about what we're changing here?
Comment. It really was stock language in the original ordinance. So as our attorney for the pension board, which is specifically looks at these things, thought that that was not the correct language to use, or the best, I say the best language to use. They like it through the Internal Revenue Service. That way, if it's updated time to time, we stay consistent with that. So we don't go back and try to reinvent the wheel or find something. So it was news to us. Our attorney looked at it.
You're happy with it, Dylan?
Yeah, it's really just a small text change that the old one was referencing an old table from 2018. It was just a part of the stock language when we were adopting it that was included at the time. And now they're updating it so it's referencing the correct document.
Okay. And hopefully in the future we don't have to correct it. It seems like the language would be a living language. If it changes at the IRS level, it changes.
Okay. Seeing no public comment, any further discussion by the commission?
So this is just to make sure we stay compliant and don't have to come back here every time.
Make a motion to approve.
You'll keep rolling through without having to have a specific outdated or dated table.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Gardner.
Second.
Second by Thompson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries.
And as noted, your public hearing and final action would be at the June meeting, but that date is incorrect. It actually is June 25th, I believe, is the corrected date because we had to reschedule it. 26, excuse me, 26. June.
So the correct date is June 26th.
June 26 in the report. Is that in the ordinance? I don't think that's in the ordinance, but in your cover sheet, it referenced the 19th. That would
Yeah, but it's not in the ordinance.
yeah, that would have been the date. But Juneteenth is on that date, and Commissioner, when you adopted your meeting schedule, moved it to the 26th, so it would be the 26th.
Okay. Moving forward to item 7, resolution 2023-041 is a resolution that approves the State of Florida Department of Transportation state-funded grant in the amount of $500,000 for the North Francisco Street Improvements Project. This funding is intended for the professional services for design, permitting, along with construction-related activities. Funds provided under this agreement will be used for the preparation of the design plans and the necessary permitting services, along with funding construction services for the North Francisco Street Improvements Project. This action encumbers the funding within the required time frame established by the state. Randy, if you'll fill us in.
Okay.
I think this had a date certain on it.
Yeah, and we've got Joe here who can speak on behalf of our engineer, but we do have to obligate the funds before June 30th so that we encumber them, and that's DOT's requirement. It was approved in the last legislative session, not the most recent one completed, and we have a little over a year of the next budget cycle we have to have it adopted. Then we'll go forward with encumbering, and I'll defer to Joe for the analysis we've done and where we're at, if you would, Joe.
Cody Bono, Johnson Engineering. Thanks for having me. This is basically just accepting the $500,000 grant earmark money from FDOT. They're the ones that are administering the funds for the improvements on North Francisco over there.
I will remind Commission that the city has put in for a grant application for SCOP money as well within the project limits noted within this grant as well. And if the city is successful with the next round of FDOT funding, that it would actually be ideal to time it as such. However, this agreement is not contingent on awarding, actually accepting anything from the SCOP application. It's kind of separate, but it'd be ideal to time it all together at once. But like I said, it can be worked in independently of one another. So this is basically for other improvements along North Francisco that may or may not be included in the SCOP grant. It all is work is dependent on accepting getting awarded the SCOP grant.
And when we say North Francisco, this is from Highway 27 north to Herbert Hoover Dyke Road.
Yes, ma'am. That is correct. And we kept the limits of this specific agreement to include Herbert Hoover Dyke Road if it is actually needed to help facilitate some of those improvements.
And as Joe pointed out, we've applied for SCOP funding for both sections. We doubt we'll get both in one fiscal year. We're hopeful we'll get the North Francisco first. That's our priority, and that was the way it was submitted. And then follow suit. Hopefully in the next cycle we would get the Herbert Hoover Dyke. And those improvement monies for SCOP would be limited by the regulations of that program and primarily be the asphalt, repaving, and drainage, and things of that nature.
Motion to approve resolution number 2023-041.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Gardner, second by Highslope. Any further discussion by the commission? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to old business. One has anything they want to bring up under old business? I know we're having a workshop
Monday, and a number of these topics will be discussed at that meeting
on Monday
at 5.
Anything with the departmental monthly activity reports?
Well, here I go again. Dead people and people who no longer live at the property are pulling permits. Travis, I know you guys are looking at it, but I'm telling you, it's still not working.
So it's supposed to be just wrong, man, checking each against the property appraiser.
This report right here. Dead people and people who no longer, who've moved away from that property years ago.
But if it still shows on property, I'll verify it in the morning myself.
I looked it up.
Okay. So
They're not on there. No, the people that are in this pool of permits are not on the property. Okay.
Randy, this has got to come to a
We're
stop.
looking at Tyler, but manager, just to key back into that Tyler software, we'll look at that. But from what I'm hearing tonight, we want a more robust system. I think Nathan offered, we'll meet with them. I really look at that. But, to go with the county system is just too expensive for the city. We try to get on as a licensee of the county, and we can't do that. We'd have to have a standard.
We can't be overwhelmed with permits in Clewiston. We should have a person that can manually check every single one.
We do. That's why I want to check that. There's a reason that got missed. I'll look at it.
This can't happen anymore. We've talked about this month after month. This cannot happen again. Okay, Randy, this can't. I don't care who's got it. The director has to check it, every single one of them. This can't happen anymore. This is ridiculous.
And then the second thing I have, Randy, is for you is the rec. When I was reading this, the rec board. I know we approved that resolution in June of 2022. Where are we on a rec board?
Kathy has the number. I think we've got the minimum number of nominations, maybe one extra. But we had been canvassing, still advertising, hoping more people would apply. But
I think it's important that we put that rec board into place. I mean,
I agree.
There's so much that we're still missing out on, and I think it's important that we have a rec board, just like we have the advisory board for the golf course. And it just seems that things happen when you have a monthly meeting with a board to address the things. And P&Z board, same thing. I mean, magistrate, which I'd like to see magistrate every month, but is that a possibility?
Sure. I mean, there's a cost, but
I think
we've got a meeting next week. We can discuss his schedule and see if he can work it in.
I just think it's important that some of these code issues are 60 to 90 days before we can finally get them resolved.
But I'm not sure that's because of the lack of a monthly meeting. Yeah, I think it's the process.
So you'll let us know about that?
Yes.
And you'll let us know about the rec board and how soon.
But we'll give you, we've given you the names, I think, at the last meeting, but we can give them to you. But I'd encourage you to try to get more interest because it's a very limited list. I'm surprised. I actually thought there'd be an abundance of people who would want to serve. But we will bring you the names that have been nominated. And if you want to proceed to appoint from that list, that's your choice.
I mean, is it 7 people, 5 people?
4 or 5.
4 or 5.
I recall for 5 seats. I believe it was 5.
I think we're going to start with 5.
Yeah, I think that's.
But I think it's 5 people is all that's applied.
Well, it shows that 5 people are interested. I mean, I don't know if we should wait at this point. It's months.
Yeah.
And we've advertised it, and we're still at the same place. And I think unless we get it started and then get that information out, that maybe it'll just a year term just to get started.
I think it's set them for 3, but we'll double check that. We'll bring it back to you.
You know, there was an outcry for that board. I figured there'd be more people interested in it.
I thought we'd have a dozen from every organization and everybody.
Maybe we need to re-advertise it again.
It's still on I think we're still doing it, but I will do it. I think she redid it. I think she did it again recently, but I'll double check that.
I don't know that many people go to our website other than to maybe pay a utility bill or something like that, you know? So if we did it on social media, that would probably be helpful.
We'll do another push and bring you the names we have, and you can choose to go forward or...
I can share it and get it shared on a couple of different outlets.
Well, that would be helpful. All right.
Okay. Nothing else with the monthly activity comments from the city manager?
I have nothing to add tonight.
City attorney? Okay, comments from city commission. We'll start at the other end. Commissioner Evans?
I'm excited about the new meter, water meter and electric meters, and feels like we're moving up in the world a little bit.
It's going to be nice. Thompson?
Just once again, I think we need to step up our traffic control coming through town, both in the entrances and through the city, 27 corridor.
It's for you, Chief. Okay, Commissioner Gardner.
Yeah, Randy, can you give us an update? I know you and I talked about it, but I think it'd be good for the commission to get an update on the Royal Palms on Highway 27, where we're at on that, and some of the delays have been.
Yeah, it's been an interesting process, but we have received another partial grant to fund more of the trees. Joe's coming up; he can assist with it, but we did go back to DOT. And we're ready to move forward with that. We had a design for the trees to go on the outside of the right-of-way, and we submitted it. And then we got feedback, the engineer did, Andy, I believe, initially, that would not be possible at the time, that did not comply with the current DOT rules and regulations, and I'll paraphrase. And subsequent to that, we pursued amending it to go to the center median for the section that we were looking at, and we designed that, went back to DOT, got, I believe, approval, consent on that. Correct, Joe?
Not to interject, my apologies. We did submit, and we just got all their comments back from the review.
Yeah, just got the comments back, and so we're in that process. During this, more recently, were advised by someone else in DOT that was not a new rule. You could, in fact, do it on the outside of the right-of-way. So at this point, we've got plans approved for both. We're going to be asking for further input from DOT on clarity, but it's potentially that we could put them both places. We don't have enough money, obviously, in this grant cycle to fund all of them either place that we need, but we will be further communicating with DOT, finalize which route we're going to go, and based on their comments, we'll be putting up some trees once we get final DOT approval, but we want to be ensured that if we, for example, choose to put them in the center median, that's not going to preclude us from adding more on the outside median, and or vice versa. And so we'll keep you in the loop as we communicate with DOT.
And I know that staff just did exactly what DOT said. You can't do them on the outside, but the commission approved the palms to go on the outside. I mean, that was a vision to have palms on both sides of Highway 27. And so I believe that since that was the original plan that we had, I think it's important that we continue with the palms on the outside and then come back and do the inside. And I think we should do more, in my opinion, more landscaping on Highway 27, because it looks pretty, even with the palms, it looks pretty bare in some of the sections that I don't feel like we have enough green space on Highway 27. But I think the commission approved the palms to go from railroad track to bridge on both sides of the highway. And I think that's what we should finish. And we should go back to DOT and say, we expended this extra money based on what we were told by your staff. There's got to be some concessions on their part on this project, that we only did what they told us to do, and they were incorrect in what they told us to do.
Well,
I just wanted to bring that to the commission. I felt it was important that, we approved Highway 27 on both sides. And if we have that plan approved now, I think that we should continue and finish that first before we even look back at the median. That's my opinion.
We'll bring back further information from DOT if necessary, but that was our original plan. That was the plan that was approved. Just so everybody's clear, this is where the road transitioned to where a median exists. Prior to that, there's no median to the east. So there was no median choice. Now there's both available, and I think it would enhance the project to have both, but we obviously only had, I believe it was $100,000 in this most recent segment.
We have mediums from Olympia all the way out to the railroad tracks.
Well, that's included in this, if I remember correctly.
It's just from Burner Road to the railroad tracks that we're talking about, right?
No.
For this particular grant, it's just slightly to the east of Burner Road.
Yeah, there's some portion of that median to the east. I think it's near that car park thing somewhere.
And you'll bring it back before this final.
We'll let y'all know what the DOT final judgment. We want it in writing, obviously, so that we don't make a short-term decision. But the preference was to go the outside, and that was the plan. Now, I will mention this, and this is good news. We had a meeting today, Danny and I, and others with DOT representatives who came to see us, and they are finally going to build the sidewalks along that area and along San Luis, from McDonald's area back on both sides, if I recall correctly. So they're finally supposed to have that project starting this summer, is what they're saying. So
is that the crosswalks at Burner Road that they're talking about?
It's the sidewalks in the areas that don't have sidewalks, as I recall.
Not a crosswalk?
Sidewalks, not a crosswalk.
No crosswalks.
Yeah. But these, the good news is that's funded. It's about $1.4+ million worth of sidewalks that'll be built in that section of the city. And we've been waiting for my entire tenure here. It's been talked about, and it got delayed and for whatever reasons. And that includes the Royal Palm section around Civic Park. They'll be starting both of those under the same contract this late summer, I anticipate. But that does have impact, obviously, on the tree project, because the irrigation and trees will be in close proximity to where those sidewalks go in those sections.
So you'll find out from DOT about.
Yes, we'll get a further update and let you know if they are in fact agreeing in writing to us that we have the choice to do either or both, and depending on the funding, obviously, and report back. Okay.
And then thank you, Joe. The second thing I have is that today marks National Police Week. So I want to thank the men and women in blue who protect and serve the city. I know that there's a lot of work that goes on, and I know that sometimes we get calls, and you get calls, and the PD gets calls about things that maybe weren't exactly the way somebody wanted, but nevertheless, you guys are there 24/7, protecting and serving the city. So I just wanted to shout out to the CPD and other law enforcement officers and say thank you.
Chief. Commissioner Haslett?
Thank you. I, like Commissioner Edmonds, am very excited about the water and electric program. I'm excited to see us come into 2023, and I think I'm mostly excited about having a user-friendly portal, for on the consumer side. I'm excited for our consumers. As a resident and as a leader, I'm excited for our consumers to have something that's geared towards them, to be able to have control. It's one of the largest bills that I have. I mean, aside from, like a mortgage or whatever, it's one of the largest reoccurring monthly bills that I have. So it'll be nice to feel like I can have some element of control over it, and, at least be able to kind of see it coming. And I think that our residents will feel the same way about it, especially if we have the tools you're talking about, how to teach them how to use the portal. And, when we roll out that video, I think that kind of stuff's really important to get folks trained and, teach them how to use the technology that they're paying for. So thank you very much, both of you, all of you, for your efforts on that. I appreciate that. I worked with Chief Lewis on a couple different things of late, so definitely appreciate all that you've done behind the scenes lately. I appreciate you guys. With that said, I did get a text message from a resident, Ms. Busen, who continues to have trouble in her neighborhood. I do hope that we'll work with her to get that resolved. We want to make sure that our neighborhoods are a safe place for all of our families, and I know that you will. So that's about it.
Well, I don't really have anything. You guys pretty well wrapped it up. Kudos to you guys with the AMI. Looking forward to that. It's an awesome project. Like Commissioner Gardner said, we've been working on at the city for years and years and years. So that's going to, I think, help out everyone. And if we can just keep, just cease people from pulling permits, I think we'll have a step forward. With that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Gardner.
Second.
Second by Haslett. We are adjourned.